So over the last couple of months, I have put together some tips and strategies that have helped me network and search for internships and postgraduate jobs, as well as just doing my own professional development search during the pandemic. So even though we are in virtual learning in a remote setting, it may seem difficult to find and build connections with others. However, the tips that I'm going to be showing you when it comes to LinkedIn and Handshake and how to use both of those strategically to your advantage to search for internships, as well as virtually network, are tips that I hope you can take away and use after this workshop. So we'll go ahead and get started with the agenda. So we will be answering these 5 questions throughout the webinar, which are: which platform is the most effective for finding an internship? How do I network virtually? What are the different ways that I can reach out to someone? What happens after the informational interview? What does success look like in a pandemic? And lastly, I will be sharing with you all the career development event schedule that has recruiting and informational sessions coming up all throughout the semester, in which employers are looking to hire interns and full-time graduates. So starting off with LinkedIn versus Handshake. So I'd like to start by asking a question. So how many of you have an account on Handshake? You can raise your hand. Okay, good. It looks like most of you do. And how many of you have an account on LinkedIn? Okay, again, so it seems like most of us, if not all of us, have accounts on both platforms. So you might be asking yourself, well, which platform is better? So in Business 199, our freshman year, one of our assignments is to create a Handshake account, to create a profile and start familiarizing ourselves with the platform, start searching for different opportunities. And then in Business 299, our sophomore year, we have pretty much the same assignment, but in regards to LinkedIn. So also creating a profile on there, start building our network and start making connections. So you might have asked yourself between now and then, or between then and now, which platform is better? Which one should I be prioritizing? Which one's going to help me find an internship? And which one is going to help me network? And the answer, surprisingly or not surprisingly, is both. Both of these platforms are extremely valuable when it comes to your professional development search. However, there are differences between the two that I would like to talk about today, and how you can strategically use both of them to your advantage when searching for an internship or when wanting to make connections and network. So starting off with Handshake. So Handshake, what makes this different than LinkedIn is that it is completely student tailored. So starting off with the job search, all postings that are made available on Handshake are targeted towards university students. Employers use Handshake specifically to recruit and hire university students. And when it comes to our school specifically, these postings that employers post are looking to hire CUA students. Every posting comes from a connection made by CUA. They're looking to hire us. So you may have found yourself searching through all of the ton of internships and jobs that are available, and wondering, am I qualified? Is this employer going to want to hire me? How am I going to make myself stand out? Well, the answer is they do want to hire you, because they are posting it on our platform so they can hire students from our school. And secondly, what makes Handshake different from LinkedIn is that there are professional development events available to attend. So on Handshake, there is an events tab where you can find events that are being hosted within the week or within the next month. And there are events that are being hosted specifically by CUA. So this is where you will find the different sessions hosted by the Office of Career Development, other different networking sessions hosted by different schools or different programs on campus, and that you can register through here. And in addition to that, you can also find events that are being hosted by other companies that are specifically targeting university students. So this screenshot on the left here is actually a list of events that are coming up this week. And I thought it showed a great diverse range of events that can be hosted on Handshake. So the first one, as you can see, is a resume and interviewing prep workshop. KPMG is also going to be hosting a careers and advisory workshop, and a Bozzuto recruiting session, which is actually the event that the Office of Career Development is hosting this Friday. And these events are a great way for you to network with various different types of people, starting off with recruiters. Recruiters are usually the ones hosting these events, and it's a great way for you to meet them and have them get to know you and why you're interested. It also gives you the chance to meet other students, so meet other people your age that are interested in going into the same industry as you. And also, a lot of the time, these events or the specific companies that are hosting events include employees who work at that company aside from the recruiter. So it also gives you the chance to meet other people who work there and really gives you the great chance to network. So now I would like to walk you through about how to find an internship on Handshake. Okay, so as you can see, before we apply any filters, there are almost 9,000 jobs found on Handshake. So this may seem overwhelming and like a lot, but you can definitely narrow it down based on what you're looking for and what's important to you when looking for an internship. So that's where you can apply the filters here. So let's say, for example, that I am a sophomore marketing student and I'm interested in finding an internship for this spring. I don't have much experience in marketing, so I'm really open to any opportunities that are out there and that seem like I could be qualified for and seem interesting to me. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just type in marketing. And that already narrows it down. Still a lot, but it narrows it down by quite a bit. And then you'll click the internship button because we're only looking for internships. And then if you click on that little button right there, you can also filter it down even more based on whatever else is important to you with your criteria. So let's say you're also only interested in looking in roles that are paid. And this will show us all of the results. You can also filter by location. So if you are in the DC area and you're only looking for internships that are in the DC area, you can filter by that as well. But given that we are in a remote setting right now, I actually recommend that you, if you would like, to keep the location off, because a lot of the time right now, internships that are made available are remote. So even if it is located in a different city or in a different state than you're located in, if it says on there that it's remote, you can do it from anywhere you are. So now we'll go through and look at the other different criteria that's on here. So if you are looking for full-time or part-time, you can filter by that as well. And this button is the save button. So if you find an internship that you want to apply for, but you're not ready right that second to apply, you can go ahead and save it and then go back to it when you're ready to upload your resume and your cover letter. One other thing that you might want to take note of is when it says remote. So as you can see, this is an internship in Oregon, but because it's remote, you could probably do it from anywhere. You definitely want to double check the posting to make sure that's the case, but it usually is most of the time. And lastly is this little icon that says fresh. So this means that this posting has been made available for under 2 weeks. So it's still relatively new, and it also probably means that the employers are still actively hiring for this role. So if that's something you want to take into consideration as well. And it looks like there are 25 pages. So if you are really open to looking at the different types of marketing roles there are, I would definitely recommend going through all of them to see which ones stand out to you. So like I mentioned, I am a marketing sophomore student and I'm interested in a marketing internship. So I think I'm going to look at this one and see what this one is all about. So this looks like it is a spring internship. It's paid and it's taking place in the spring, and it is in Reston, Virginia. And so although it's starting remotely, it looks like it could potentially be in person later on in the semester. So you'll definitely want to read the full description to make sure that it's applicable to you and to your interests. And if so, you can go ahead and save it. One other important thing to note on Handshake is to see if you match all of the preferences, because if so, you are more likely to more likely to get reached out to by the recruiter for this position. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, but not apply to it just yet because I am still looking to get all of my documents together. So now that we've covered Handshake, we're going to move on to LinkedIn. So the main difference, or what makes LinkedIn different from Handshake, is the social aspect. So LinkedIn is the platform where professionals of all different backgrounds and all different ages come together, and recruiters know this. So one of LinkedIn's main purposes is connecting with recruiters with potential candidates. So LinkedIn recruiters use the database to vet internships and job candidates. And they do this by looking for a specific set of keywords or qualifications that users have in their profile. And in addition to connecting with recruiters, you can also connect with any other professionals in your area of interest. So if there's a company that you're interested in working at, or you're looking to learn more information about a specific industry, you can also connect with people that way as well. And you can also join groups and follow company pages. So if you have a niche interest that's not directly related to a job, or there's a specific company that you're interested in, you can add that to your feed as well. And lastly, make your profile stand out. So I'd like to ask a question to you now, so feel free to use the chat or unmute yourself. But I would like to know what ways that you can make your LinkedIn profile stand out. Go ahead and stop sharing if there's anyone that wants to share any examples. Okay, no worries. So I will actually go through and show you how to make your LinkedIn profile stand out, and also show you the changes that I've made over the last couple of months that have helped me stand out to recruiters and to other professionals that I've connected with. Okay, so here is my profile. The first thing that you'll notice is that I have a profile picture. So this is the first thing that anyone who sees your profile is going to see. So I definitely recommend that you have a profile picture. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a professional headshot, because I know right now during these times, you might not have access to a photographer or have anyone to take a professional photo of you. So if you have a photo of yourself in which you're a little bit more dressed up or dressed more professionally, you can definitely use that as your profile picture. And next, of course, you definitely want to include your name. And then is your title. So a lot of the time you'll see that people's titles are normally what they are currently doing as an internship or what their current job title is. However, I had a conversation with a woman a couple of months ago who told me that your title is really shows who you are. And it doesn't necessarily just have to include the type of job that you're in or what you're currently doing. So I decided to put aspiring higher education marketing professional, because that also explains who I am a little bit more before anyone clicks on my profile to see what else I've been involved with. Your profile picture, your name, and your title are the first three things that anyone who clicks on your profile is going to see first. So what do you want them to know about you before they really get into the breadth of what you've done and what your experiences are? So whether it's explaining what you want to do when you graduate, or maybe including a couple of adjectives that you think describe you well. And next is your about section. So this section is really where you get to talk about yourself in a way that isn't necessarily visible on your resume. What are you going to say here that people can't tell from your resume? So what I've included are 2 different paragraphs that explain what I'm interested in, how I became interested in it, and a couple of adjectives and experiences that I've had that have made me want to pursue the area that I want to go into. And also your resume. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend including your resume on your LinkedIn unless there is a very specific industry that you want to go into and have direct experience in there. Your resume is personal to you, and it doesn't have to be made public unless there is an opportunity out there in which having your resume would be great to have on your LinkedIn. And next is your experience. So this is where the bulk of your information comes in. So in here, I have a detailed outline of all the different responsibilities I've had in my internship. And this is going back to recruiters reaching out to you. Because I have a detailed profile, I have keywords and different qualifications that recruiters can see right away. So you're more likely to get a response if they can see that Not only are you a real person, but you're credible given the work that you've done at those different organizations. And next is education. So this is also very important to have on your LinkedIn because it connects you to the rest of the Catholic University alumni database. So including your school, your major, and any activities you're involved in. And if you also were involved with any volunteering in high school or in college, and then including some skills and accomplishments that you want to include on there. The details go a long way and shows the different responsibilities and awards you have, different accomplishments, and really just makes your profile look complete. Does anyone have any questions about what else to include on your LinkedIn profile or what not to include? No? All right, so let's get back to the presentation. So the second way that LinkedIn differs from Handshake is the alumni connection. So like I just mentioned, having your school in your profile is extremely important because it automatically connects you with the rest of the alumni who attended your school. So for example, if you are searching a company that you're interested in, it will show you who from your school has been hired there. And I recommend that the alumni database is the first place you're going to want to go to when you're looking to reach out to someone, because alumni have attended Catholic, they were in your shoes once, especially if they were in the same school or the same major. They probably had the same professors, took the same classes, and were involved in the same activities as you. So they know exactly what it's like to be in your shoes. So that's why they're really willing to help you. So there are 3 different ways that you can connect with alumni, or I'm sorry, search for alumni on LinkedIn. And first would be by company. So if there is a company or 2 that you're really interested in, you can go ahead and search for alumni that way. But if you're not exactly sure which company you're interested in, but you may have an idea of the industry you want to go into, whether it's nonprofit management or technology or consulting, you can search through that way as well. And lastly is location. So in a non-COVID world, or if you're looking to do a socially distanced meetup, you can search for alumni who are in your area. So whether you're in the DC area or you're in Boston or Chicago, really anywhere at all in the world, you can see which alumni are nearby to you and maybe ask them to meet up for a cup of coffee or again, do a socially distanced meetup and have your informational interview in person. So now we are going to go back to LinkedIn and look up the company that we were interested in on Handshake, that posting, and see if there's an alumni or recruiter that we could reach out to regarding this posting. So because I saved it, I'm going to look back there. And the company was called ROCS, and they're located in Reston, Virginia. So we'll look it up that way. Okay, so as we can see, there are no CUA alumni who work at this company. If there were, it would normally be to the right here, and it would say that someone from CUA works here, and you could click on it that way. However, we can see if there is a recruiter that looks approachable that we would want to send a message to about setting up an informational interview. So to do that, you would go to People, and we can search by title, or you can just search through and see if there's anyone that looks interesting to you. If you have mutual connections, that's another great way to start a conversation as well, because you already have someone in common that you both know. So I'm going to click on this woman. She's the first recruiter I see, and see what types of roles she's recruiting for. It's definitely important, if you can, to see if the recruiter is specifically recruiting for the role that you're looking to apply for. So in her bio, she says she loves helping recent grads, entry-level opportunities. So this definitely seems like a great opportunity to message her. And she is an entry-level recruiter. So if you're looking to apply for that internship, Devin is probably going to be your go-to person. Okay, so now we are actually going to talk about networking and informational interviewing. So now that we've talked about the different platforms to strategically use when internship searching, we're going to transition into networking and setting up informational interviewing. So because of the pandemic, networking may seem kind of difficult right now because you're not able to meet up in person. However, even before the pandemic, networking online was already a common thing to do, given that you may not be in a location that you're looking at an internship, looking for an internship or a job. However, it's definitely increased since the pandemic, and it's really the only way right now that we're able to network with others. So I'm going to show you how you can still establish and make meaningful connections through networking online. So in case you were not convinced about the benefits of networking, I wanted to provide some statistics here. So 85% of jobs get filled through networking, and the top way that companies recruit is through referring people they know. So I would like to talk about a time that I attended a professional development event that led to an internship offer. So it all started in March 2019 when I attended a VPV visit to AEI. So for those of you who don't know what VPV is, it stands for Vita Per Virtutum Society, and it is an honor school here at the Busch School. And before I attended this event, I did not know who AEI was, I did not know what they did, and I didn't know what a think tank was. So at this event, the Talent Development Associate spoke to us, the students, about who AEI was, what they did, who their competitors were, and she also spoke highly of their internship program. And afterwards, we networked with 2 alumni who work at AEI. And then in June 2019, I reached out to Mary Unberfirth, who was one of the advisors of DPV, and I asked her for the Talent Development Associate's information because I was really interested in the company after attending the event, and I really wanted to learn more about the internship program. So I reached out to her, and we had a great conversation about the internship program and also about the development internship, which was really the one that I was most interested in. And after our conversation, I asked her if there were people she could recommend that I could reach out to specifically in the development department to learn more about that internship. So come July 2019, I had an interview with what turned out to be the supervisors for the development department. And I thought it was going to be an informational interview where I was the one asking the questions, but it turned out to be a real on-the-spot interview. And at the end, I asked them questions about their experiences and what the role of the development intern was like. And then in July 2019, I received an offer letter to intern at AEI for fall 2019. And I interned in the development department for the entire fall semester. So this experience goes to show that networking really does work by putting yourself out there and trying to make those connections. There's a great chance that it'll turn out positive in the end. However, that was just my personal experience, and not everyone's experience is like that. It may not always just be a linear path to getting an internship or to get through to someone to request an informational interview. So there are many different ways in which you can virtually network. And the first is by starting with people you know. So start with the people that are in your inner circle that you can easily reach out to. So whether that be a coworker of your parents or one of your best friend's parents works in an industry that you want to learn more about, it's definitely the best way to start off. So, and you can do this by sending an email, a text, or even Facebook Messenger is a great way to go. However, depending on your relationship with this person, that might depend on the method of communication you decide to use. So if you are looking to reach out to a professor per se, email might be the best way to go. Or if it's a more casual relationship like your friend's parents, maybe texting is the best way to go. And I also recommend Facebook because a lot of the time your friends on Facebook might include previous coworkers or previous supervisors. So if you're looking to reconnect or connect with someone new, that also might be a great way to go. And beginning a conversation on LinkedIn, we'll get back to that one in just a second. And also reaching out to career development to connect with active alumni. So the Career Development Office has a database of alumni who are still actively involved with the university community and are willing to talk to current undergraduate students. So if there is a company or an industry that you're really looking to go into, reach out to the career development office to see who they can connect you with. Because like I mentioned before, alumni are the best group of people to reach out to when it comes to professional development, because they were in your shoes and they are willing to help you. So now we'll go back to LinkedIn, and we're going to craft an informational interview request to the recruiter that we sought out on there. Okay, so here's Devin. So if you don't have LinkedIn Premium, the way that you can message someone is by clicking on the 3 dots here, then clicking connect, and then you're going to want to add a personalized note. If you don't do this, your connection request will get sent out to her, but you wouldn't have the opportunity to include a note beforehand. So it's really important that you do it at this stage. And there are 3 different things that we are going to want to include in this note. So I'm going to write it out and ask you if you can try and see which 3 things I included in this note to Devin. So starting off with the introduction. So as you can see, you only have 300 characters to use when crafting your informational or when crafting your invitation. So I had to just take out a couple of things since it didn't fit, but there are 3 main things that I included in this invitation. 1, I introduced myself. I told her who I am, where I go to school, what I study. I also expressed my interest in learning more about ROCS and the opportunities available. And lastly, I asked for an informational interview. So these are the 3 main things that you want to include in a request, whether it be a recruiter or whether it be to a CUA alum, because you are more likely to get a response with a nicely worded invitation like this one. And again, because if you have a completed profile on LinkedIn, they'll be able to check it out before they answer your invitation and can see who you are, what you've done, and again, it shows your credibility. Okay, so let's say that I sent out the invitation to Devin, and she responded with a date and time to meet for an informational interview. So now comes the time when you are to set up the questions that you want to ask. So you most likely only have 20 to 25 minutes of Devin's time. So you really want to make sure that your conversation is intentional. Now, this means asking the questions that are relevant to what you want to know about her, what you want to know about the company, and the opportunities available. So these are some main questions that I normally include when I am doing an informational interview. Again, you may not have time for all of these, but definitely prioritizing the ones that make sense for your situation. And these ones really cover all of the different areas that you could cover. So asking about their career path and how they got where they are today, some challenges about the career, how would they describe the company culture? If you're an upcoming or recent graduate, do they have any advice? What does a typical day look like for you? So these are questions you can ask a recruiter, or that you can also ask a CUA alum if you decide to request an info interview with them as well. And lastly, if your conversation went really well, and you want to stay in touch with them, definitely ask them. Ask them if they can stay in touch and want to catch up every couple of months just to see where you both are in your professional development progress. And after the informational interview, the first thing you're going to want to do is send a thank you email within 24 hours. One tip that I have when crafting your thank you email is including something specific that you talked about in your conversation. So if they included, or if they talked about an anecdote that really resonated with you, let them know. Or if they give you a piece of advice that you found to be very helpful, let them know that as well. It shows that you are really engaged and interested in the conversation, and they will definitely appreciate that. And also check in every few months with updates. So if you two decided to stay in touch and this time around you were in touch with a recruiter, let them know if you found any opportunities that seem interesting to you or what the company is up to nowadays. And then lastly, let them know when you're applying for a position. So if it's finally time for you to send out that application, definitely let them know so they can keep it on their radar. So what happens if you don't get an internship? Well, that is completely okay because there are definitely various other ways in which you can get involved on campus or in your community. First is by completing online certifications, volunteering virtually or safely in person, look for a part-time job, join an on-campus club, and lastly, continue networking. So employers are going to want to know how you use your time during the pandemic. So use this time to strengthen your professional portfolio in really any way that you can. And remember that if your dream internship does not come along right away, that is completely okay. By continuing to network and putting yourself out there, you're definitely setting yourself up for success. Now I would like to share the career development events calendar for this semester. And if you would like, you can go ahead and take a screenshot. I would just like to point out some events that are happening later this week. First is tomorrow, which is the One Huddle Company session. And then on Friday is the Bizzuto Company session. So again, these informational sessions are recruiting events. The recruiters are looking to hire interns and graduates from CUA. And every Friday, the Office of Career Development is hosting recruiting sessions. So I definitely recommend that you register for those on Handshake for whichever ones sound interesting to you. So thank you very much. I would love to answer any questions that anyone has. This is also a QR code to set up an appointment with myself or one of the other career peer advisors who work in the career development office to talk about your resume, your cover letter, or just to help you with your internship search. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and would love to answer any questions. And if no one has any questions now, you can definitely shoot me an email. I'll provide my email to all of you later on. But thank you so much for coming tonight, and it was great seeing all of you.